The passing of SriAurobindo, its inner significance and consequence. Soon after Amal Kiran wrote this article, he received the following telegram from Nalinida on 27th December 1950. Your passing of SriAurobindo, admirable, fully approved by Mother, nothing to change. Mother's comment on the article. It is excellent. I am extremely satisfied. It is quite the best thing Amal has written. I would like to print 15,000 copies. Now we begin Amal Kiran's article. Part 1. No yogi dies in the ordinary meaning of the word. His consciousness always exceeds the formula of the physical body, and his action on mankind is essentially through his free and ample spirit. All the more inapplicable is the term death to the passing of a master of yoga like SriAurobindo. For it is well known that the transformative power of the supermind was at work in the very cells of his body. That there should be a clinical picture instead of a miraculous vanishing trick is exactly in keeping with SriAurobindo's yoga. Doctors have declared that he entered into deep coma in consequence of an extreme uremic condition. Yet, to the surprise of the doctors attending on him, SriAurobindo opened his eyes at frequent intervals and asked for a drink or inquired what the time was. This repeated occurrence of the scientifically impossible leads one to believe that the deep uremic coma was intermixed, as it were, with a very conscious yogic self-withdrawal. Even half an hour before the breathing ceased and the heart stopped beating, SriAurobindo looked out from his calm, compassionate eyes, spoke the name of the doctor by his side, and drank some water. This was the strangest uremic coma in medical history. Nor did the extraordinary character of the passing of this yogi of yogis end there. When there was a consultation of doctors, both French and Indian, 2.5 days after the death certificate had been signed, SriAurobindo's body was found to have retained the beautiful white gold color that had distinguished it during his life, and there was not the slightest trace of decomposition. The famous announcement was made by the mother. The funeral of SriAurobindo has not taken place today. His body is charged with such a concentration of supramental light that there is no sign of decomposition, and the body will be kept lying on his bed so long as it remains intact. It lay intact for several days in a grandeur of victorious quiet, with thousands upon thousands having darshan of it. Only at 5 p.m. on December 9, in a rosewood case lined with silver and satin, it was buried most simply in a vault specially prepared in the center of the ashram courtyard. Sometime in November 1950, the predictions of a Gujarati astrologer were read out to SriAurobindo. In 1950, as the sun and the moon are in conjunction, there is a chance of SriAurobindo's self-undoing, unquote. About 1964, the astrologer opined, in that year, some mighty miracle of SriAurobindo's power will be witnessed. Aged 93, he will withdraw from the world at his own will after completing his mission. On hearing this, SriAurobindo raised his hand and said, "Oh, 93," as if he had found that age too far away for his mission's achievement. SriAurobindo was asked, "Isn't the prediction about your self-undoing this year nonsensical? Surely you are going to stay with us." In his grand, unhurrying way came the calm counter-query of just one mysterious word. Why? A most surprising word, this, to all who had expected that an unusual longevity as a result of the supermind's increasing descent was part of SriAurobindo's program. Another surprise was fraught with a strange, foreboding joy. To those who looked after him or worked in his room, he gave a sign of sudden personal tenderness. For a brief moment, there went out to his attendants, to each in a different way and on a different occasion, a distinct outward gesture of affection, as if he had wished them to know, before it might be too late, his appreciation of their service. The gesture, exceedingly sweet and welcome though it was, appeared to hold vaguely in it the poignancy of a possible leave-taking. A third surprise may be recorded. The master had been busy with his Savitri for several years. Out of some unfathomable silence, he would draw out golden phrase and apocalyptic line, wait as if he had eternities to throw away. A patience as vast as that vision characterized always SriAurobindo's dealings with this epic. Time without end appeared to be at his disposal when he sat dictating lines like those about the central figure of the poem. a body like a parable of dawn, that seemed a niche for veiled divinity, or golden temple door to things beyond. But all of a sudden, a couple of months before the fateful December 5, SriAurobindo startled his scribe by saying, "I must finish Savitri soon." And a certain fact about Savitri fits in here with the aptest symbolism. Though he strove to finish his epic soon, it just fell short of completion. The one single book which does not exist in any form at all, except for a short piece written a long time ago, is the Book of Death. Most suggestive is this fact, as if that book could not be composed until the grim spectre had been grappled with in actuality, and as if SriAurobindo had been waiting for some mighty crisis of his own bodily existence before he could launch on this part of his legend and symbol. Everything goes to prove that what happened in the small hours of that December day was no fell accident, but a dreadful gamble freely accepted, an awesome trial undergone for a set purpose, a battle faced in every wounding detail with open eyes, with the explicit possibility threatening him of losing in it the most gifted and glorious bodily instrument forged by the manifesting spirit. Part 2. The core of SriAurobindo's philosophy and yoga is the dynamic truth consciousness that is the supermind. The fusion of the supramental light with the inmost soul and the descent of it into mind and life energy and even the physical body, transforming and divinizing them in entirety, are SriAurobindo's special discovery and yoga. With the supramental descent, SriAurobindo aimed at creating a new humanity. And it is with this aim that he sought to form an initiating double center for the new humanity by his own supramentalization and the mother's. No, it is not with the Empyrean that I am busy, wrote SriAurobindo in 1936. It is rather with the opposite end of things. It is in the abyss that I have to plunge to build a bridge between the two. But that too is necessary for my work, and one has to face it." Unquote. In the course of this plunge, various dreadful possibilities rise up, and great inner wounds as well as severe bodily tensions have to be endured. Both the plan and the attitude of an avatar find voice in a letter of 1935. I am not doing anything for myself, as I have no personal need of anything, neither of salvation, moksha, nor supramentalization. If I am seeking after supramentalization, it is because it is a thing that has to be done for the earth consciousness. And if it is not done in myself, it cannot be done in others. Yes, SriAurobindo, in his published pronouncements, appears to have envisaged the need of himself constituting together with the mother the starting point of supramental humanity. But in the same pronouncements, he leaves also a small margin of a different denouement. A clearer hint of unexpected turns in the divine's dealings is contained in a letter of 1935. Quote, "Why should the divine be tied down to succeed in all his operations? What if failure suits him better and serves better the ultimate purpose? What rigid primitive notions are these about the divine?" Unquote. This suggests that apparent defeat of the divine's grandest goal could even be a concealed victory. And all conditions considered, it is truly such a strategy that seems to have been employed by SriAurobindo. Only a fearless fighter like SriAurobindo could have disclosed in yet another letter of 1935, quote, "It is not for personal greatness that I am seeking to bring down the supermind. I care nothing for greatness or littleness in the human sense. If human reason regards me as a fool for trying to do what Krishna did not try, I do not in the least care. It is a question between the divine and myself. Whether it is the divine will or not, whether I am sent to bring that down or not. Let all men jeer at me, if they will, or all hell fall upon me, if it will, for my presumption. I go on till I conquer or perish. This is the spirit in which I seek the supermind." Unquote. A splendid heroism of selflessness is here, the vividest picture of a warrior yogi. And though the formula is "I conquer or perish," the frame of mind is one of a yet more audacious formula: "I perish to conquer." SriAurobindo would be ready to win all in secret while losing all on the surface. Nothing except a colossal strategic sacrifice of this kind, in order that the physical transformation of the mother may be immeasurably hastened. Nothing less can explain the passing of SriAurobindo. There would also be implied in the Holocaust a world-saving action by the sweet power of which SriAurobindo speaks in a letter as far back as 1934. It is only divine love which can bear the burden I have to bear, that all have to bear who have sacrificed everything else to the one aim of uplifting earth out of its darkness to the divine. We may say that some undreamt of calamity would have afflicted the world if the vast poison had not been drawn away into the body of this one man. Has he not himself expounded in a letter the technique of triumph in the midst of seeming downfall? Quote, "Even if I foresee an adverse result, I must work for the one that I consider should be, for it keeps alive the force, the principle of truth which I serve, and gives it a possibility to triumph hereafter, so that it becomes part of the working of the future favorable fate, even if the fate of the hour is adverse." Unquote. With these far-seeing phrases of the Master, we may close our attempt to elucidate the mystery of that look of magnificent meditation with which he lay from early morning of December 5 for more than 111 hours in his simple bed in the room where he had spent over 2 decades. And we may add that somehow the personal presence itself of SriAurobindo grew intenser by setting aside his most exterior sheath. He broke out into a new intimacy with his followers and took them even more directly into his immense being. In a most special sense, therefore, SriAurobindo is still at work, and a concrete truth is expressed by the Mother when she says, "To grieve is an insult to SriAurobindo, who is here with us, conscious and alive." The same concrete truth is ingemmed in the beautiful message of December 7, which she delivered out of her depths, where she and SriAurobindo are one. Lord, this morning Thou hast given me the assurance that Thou wouldst stay with us until Thy work is achieved, not only as a consciousness which guides and illumines, but also as a dynamic presence in action. In unmistakable terms, Thou hast promised that all of Thyself would remain here and not leave the earth atmosphere until earth is transformed. Grant that we may be worthy of this marvelous presence and that henceforth everything in us be concentrated on the one will, to be more and more perfectly consecrated to the fulfillment of thy sublime work.